Hey there everybody, it's Wayne Defrancesco. You can call me Wayne D. We got Tiger Woods here at Greensboro playing real nicely, and I see some really nice things in his swing that I'll go over in a second. But now that he's playing good, I just want to make sure that no TV announcer says that Tiger Woods is finally playing better because his head is not dropping as much. So here he is, 9-iron in hand, and I'm going to draw the line right on top of his head. Now, just to make sure the camera doesn't move around too much, I'm going to draw a line on top of this house here. Alright, now let's take a peek. Let's go back. Notice the line on the house is not moved. Alright, so we'll give that the top of the swing. There's line number 2. There's the top of his head, right? Now, downswing starts, drop, 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 stops about left arm parallel. You can see it. The head will not drop after left arm parallel. And here's drop number 2. Now, let's go back and do that again. Here's the start. Here's the top. And there's left arm parallel. Now, measure that. Well, Tiger's 6 feet tall or so, right? What do you think? I mean, I got more than 6 inches. So please, please do not say that Tiger's not dropping his head, right? Don't want to hear it. Alright, so what is different? Well, look at the amounts. They're almost dead even. And that's different. If you go way back in the early 2000s, you would see something like this. You would see the backswing would look kind of like there, and then the downswing would get like, well, maybe not that low, maybe down here. So the total amount was pretty close. I'd say it was a little bit less overall back then. And then when you go into the Haney years, eventually, you know, the thing got to where the backswing was a ton, and the downswing was substantial, and the whole thing got big and got out of hand, but the backswing got a little extra. So he's evened it out, and that's good. The total amount is still significant, and I'm not saying that it's any less than it has been, you know, for the last, I don't know, 10 years at least, or more. So anyway, so what are the good things going on in his swing? I mean, I've always thought the head drop was fine and dandy, since, you know, Hogan did it, and just about everybody else, Byron Nelson, blah blah blah, you got them all pretty much. So what else is good about his swing? Well, the hips are really nicely staying deep. So that is a good sign for Tiger of health. His right leg is not coming out of the box. So look how close he is to shaft plane when he's hitting it. That's nice. Now, he's not going to finish in the box, and I think that's just a result of not wanting to stress his back. I think he's going to come out of this, but the ball's way gone, so it doesn't really matter. But he's going to finish over there. I think it's just easier on him not to have as much side bend, so he's not pushed as far over into his left tip. He could be. So in other words, he could maintain more of this pitch and this shoulder tilt than he does here. His shoulders are almost dead level, but I think that's just makes it feel a little better. So what else do we see here? Like the right arm seems to be starting to free up a little bit. It's not quite as drilled in front of him. I mean, it's still pretty much what you would call in for most of the swing. Now the hands in this particular swing are going to go back. So that's one thing that, I still think it would be better if the hands would just get up here and head for the ball. Alright, so let's go to a different swing. So we got two longer. We've got probably an 8-iron here. Might be a 9-iron, who knows, as far as these guys are hitting it. But you can see the takeaway has stayed sort of inward. Remember in the Harmon years it was out away from him, and Haney was kind of a little bit more in. Foley was even more in, and that seems to have stuck around. He likes that left arm across him. A little tighter swing than it used to be when his left arm's more away from him. But look at the wrist and the face. Looks really good there. Shaft's pointing really nicely. There's the handle. It's going to drop down, and when I say drop down, I usually like to see that. So if I draw this angle down, you can see at least this is in front of his feet. Now that's more out than it has been. So it's always easier to see these things when the camera's a little closer up, but when you look at that first move there, it's pretty down, I would say, but not as backwards as I've seen it. But still, watch the shaft approach. This picture's a little more blurry. This one, let's watch this one. Now the takeaway is starting to flow much better. The club's not excessively outside of his hands. It's just kind of going back. So if you watch, this is real interesting. If you watch the face here, so the first move back, really, it seems like the face is still kind of looking at the ball, but not for long, because right up in here he'll start to fling it open. Now watch where it gets up here. You can see it right there. So think about where it was here, and then take it up and do that. So, and if you look at it as it gets, there's one more click here. It's even like more like that. You can really see it where I drew this line. This is the key. So if you go from where that is here and flick it up there like that while you're turning, you're twisting the hands to open the face, because the right arm is not, he is not doing that with his left arm. He is doing that with his hands. Now you could call it wrists or forearms if you want, but he's not rolling his arm, because if he was, it would be rolling up his chest and it's staying down underneath. So the wrist seems a little more neutral than it was with Haney for sure, but maybe a little flatter than it was a few years ago. Now this is a really good sign. Tiger's knee has disappeared here, so that's how you can measure body rotation, or the rate of rotation is when the left knee disappears. That's when the hips have returned to facing the ball. And when you look at where the left arm is, you can tell how fast that's occurred. If the left arm is below parallel to the ground a significant amount, then you could call the legs a little slow. This is old Tiger here, where the hands are. So his left arm is well above parallel to the ground, and his leg has disappeared. So that means in this next frame, when the left arm is parallel to the ground, his hips are already open to a significant degree. Now that's key for Tiger, to get his body to open up. You know, I've been saying he's hadn't been able to snap himself out of the way, so he's been getting in his own way, but now it looks like he's got that trunk rotation back. And if you watch his left foot, that's old Tiger. That foot slides back and the toe comes up and the right foot slides. See, this is vintage here. So I think people have a reason to have some hope that he could, you know, I've said it a billion times, the guy's so good, don't put anything past him. So again, if I draw the line here, the first inch or so are kind of down, and then if you draw it after that, you might get it in front of his feet. But certainly got awesome shaft. Look where that shaft is. And on the approach, the forearm is down real close to the ball, so this is really getting to be better. Alright, Wayne D here. A little Tiger Woods for you.